Hi everyone, welcome to another devlog. So my goal for this week is to actually create some puzzles. And when I say puzzle, what I mean is like a logical problem that the player has to find a solution for in order to progress. So in terms of assertion, it's probably gonna be like, oh, here's a closed door, find a way to open it. Or like, oh, here's a bottomless pit, find a way to get across. But before I can start designing such puzzles, I actually need some more puzzleable elements. Here's what I mean. This is what we have currently in the game. A static anchor, a dynamic anchor, an ability to pull ourselves towards anchors, and an ability to lock ourselves in place. But clearly this is not enough to create like interesting challenges. And I already have in mind some elements that we can add to spicy up the gameplay a little bit. So now I'm gonna try to put these ideas on paper. Okay, here's what we've got so far. An inverted anchor. As you can guess, it pushes the player away instead of pulling them towards itself. Connected to this idea is actually the third ability, which presumably would allow any anchor to be used as an inverted one. But I'm still thinking about this because I'm not sure if it's not gonna break the game, because you could probably fly with that. Anyway, next up is a broken anchor. You can use it once and then it shuts down and you need to find a way to re-enable it so you can use it again. After that we have a socket. It's placed somewhere on the wall, and if an anchor passes by, it catches it and locks it in place. And if you lock yourself in place and pull on such an anchor, the socket's gonna release it. Finally, the last anchor is actually mounted on a rail, so it can be moved but only alongside this rail, and only if you are locked. Otherwise, it serves like a static anchor. Then we have this little thing, which is actually a pressure plate, but I don't think like a pressure plate would match the climate of the game, so instead it's like an electrical outlet to which you can connect an anchor and it's gonna power something else. There's also a terminal which allows you to manually trigger different things, like, open a door or release the socket or maybe re-enable a broken anchor. I was also thinking about the fourth ability, which would allow the player to choose two different anchors and they would start attracting each other without affecting the player, but it's like a very decent idea. Actually, for now I'm gonna focus only on these elements, because they are necessary to finish the playable demo that I have in mind. And I'm gonna start by creating the terminal. Okay, I think I'm done with terminals for now. Currently they come in 3 different flavors, so this one has a timer on it. So it activates something for a specific amount of time, which can be set here as the duration parameter. And then this next one works like a switch. And finally, this last one triggers something. I feel like I still need some kind of a visual representation for the switch, so that the player can see whether or not it's toggled on, even if they're not close enough to see the dialogue. And the same goes for a parameter called cooldown, which we can also set to specify how long the player needs to wait between subsequent presses. So if I press it now, I need to wait 4 seconds. And then I'm able to press it again. So it would be nice if the terminal actually showed that. I've just finished the broken anchor, but in order to do that, I needed to implement a way to temporarily disable any anchor. So I thought it would be fun to be able to use a terminal to not only re-enable a broken anchor, but also to determine whether or not a normal anchor should be enabled. And as you can see here, if I use this terminal, this anchor is gonna light up, and it will stay this way until the timer runs out. And if I'm connected to it while it happens, I'm gonna get disconnected. Same goes for this one, but this terminal works like a switch, so I can just enable it and it stays this way forever until I use this terminal again. And then finally, here's the real broken anchor. So if I use it, it breaks, surprise! And I can use this terminal to re-enable it. And as I said, it's gonna break after a specific amount of time, which can be set here as the breaking time. Or it's gonna also break... What have I just typed? Let's leave it at 1. Or it's just gonna break whenever I release the spacebar. So if I start using the anchor, there's no going back, it's gonna break as soon as I lift my finger. Unfortunately, I didn't have the time to finish the rest of the elements. I'm gonna try to do that next week and maybe also put them into action, finally. There's also two things that I forgot to show you in the previous devlog, so let me quickly go into that. I've made some adjustments in the menu. Mainly now, if I try to delete a save, I'll get this prompt, and thanks to Sam Cookie for recommending that. And also last week I showed you the translation system, and I didn't actually show you how to change the language, because you can do that in options, which is currently the only option that you have in the options. Alright, I feel like that's all I wanted to show you today. So as always, thank you for watching and see you in the next video. Take care.